Hello, dear friends, and welcome to my little soulful radio corner. If you find this space comforting, I'd be so grateful if you shared it with others. Today marks the very first episode of Cafe by the Window. I sincerely hope it brings a gentle touch to your day. Never give up. The journey of overcoming difficulties and failures. The days you want to give up, there are days when you wake up and feel like there's no reason to get out of bed. The light outside the window isn't strong enough to pull you out from under the warm blanket. You look at the clock, then up at the ceiling. Sigh. Another day begins, but inside, you feel an emptiness that's almost terrifying. You don't know when you started feeling this way. Maybe it was after the first time you failed the university entrance exam. Maybe it was when you were laid off due to company downsizing. Maybe it was the night you came back to your rented room at 10 p.m., opened your phone, and saw no messages. Or maybe it wasn't because of anything at all. It was just one of those days when you suddenly realize that you no longer see the light at the end of the tunnel. Life sometimes is exhausting not because there's too much going on, but because little by little it slowly takes away your faith in yourself. You start to doubt. Am I good enough? Did I do something wrong? Everyone else is moving forward, but I'm standing still or even going backward. And at some point, you stop telling anyone that you're exhausted because you're afraid of being seen as weak, afraid of being judged, afraid of being looked down upon. So you stay silent, smile when you need to, nod when you have to, and quietly chew on your loneliness when the night falls. There are nights when you wander aimlessly. You look at the lights from other people's windows and wonder, are they happy? As for me, will there ever be a day when I can live without pretending? In fact, you don't want to give up, you just want someone to see the exhaustion in you, someone to hold your hand and say, it's okay, I'm here. But that person never appears. And then you start thinking about the two words give up. Not exactly quitting, but letting go. Letting go of the dream that once made you shine. Letting go of the efforts no one ever saw. Letting go of the belief in something better. You become more silent, no longer excited about the things that once made your heart race. You no longer write out your plans for the month. No more New Year's resolutions. No more sunset pictures. You don't bother keeping any memories. Because in your heart, everything feels meaningless. Honestly, you've thought about giving up. You've sat in the company restroom and cried alone after being scolded by your boss. You've stood in the middle of the street, holding a job application, not knowing which way to go next. You've held your phone about to call someone, but then put it down, thinking they're busy too. Who has time to listen to me complain? You've been like that, and I have too. But you know what? Those moments that seemed like the darkest times were actually when your true self showed through most clearly. You weren't a weak person. You were someone still struggling to keep going, even though there seemed to be no reason left. It's you, the person who has endured so many dark nights, but still wakes up every morning to keep working. It's you, the person who has thought about letting go many times, but still chooses to hold on, even if it's just by a fragile thread of hope. Don't think you're weak just because you're tired. Those who have fought with life know the value of a day lived without having to pretend. And you, even though you're in the worst phase, are still a silent warrior. It's just that you haven't heard the encouragement at the right moment. And if you're reading these lines, then please take this as my whisper to you, the one standing at the crossroads of continuing or giving up. You've come so far already. Don't stop just because today's road is too tiring. Take a little rest, and then let's walk together, okay? Your path is yours alone to walk. Life is never simple. It is a long journey, full of challenges and hardships. Sometimes you may feel lost, as if everything is working against you. But there is one thing you must remember. Only you can walk your own path. No matter how many loved ones you have by your side, no matter how many friends support you, in the end, you are the only one responsible for the path you choose. The people around you can help, they can encourage you, but no one can walk for you. No one can face the difficulties and setbacks for you. Your path is yours, and you are the only one who can decide whether to continue or stop. When you decide to do something, you will face many challenges. It's inevitable in life. No path is smooth, and no success comes easily. When facing difficulties, there will be times when you want to give up, to quit. But you must remember that when you stop, you're not just giving up a battle, you're giving up yourself. If you don't dare to continue, if you don't dare to face the challenge, you will never know how strong you really are. Only when you walk on will you discover the hidden strength within you. When you fail, when you stumble, you may feel weak, helpless. You'll ask yourself, do I have the strength to keep going? But believe this, each failure is just a lesson, a stepping stone that brings you closer to your goal. Every time you fall, you'll learn how to rise stronger. And if you keep going, if you don't give up, you'll realize that only you can take control of your life. No one else can live your life for you. No one can face the challenges and decisions you must make. There will be times when you feel lonely. You'll walk alone on that path, with no one by your side. But don't be afraid, because that is when you find the strength from within yourself. Loneliness is not the enemy. It is a companion on your journey of growth. And when you learn how to stand strong on your own, you'll realize that you don't need anyone else to prove your worth. You already have everything you need to move forward: perseverance, determination, and belief in yourself. The important thing is that you never give up. Even though there will be times when you want to quit and feel exhausted, remember that you are the only one who can decide whether to keep going or stop. If you give up, you will never truly know your real potential. You will never discover the full strength you have. So, keep moving forward no matter how difficult it gets. Because in the end, only you can walk your own path, and you deserve every bit of effort you put in. So, don't fear difficulties, don't fear failures. Stand firm even if the road is rugged. Remember that every step, no matter how small, is still a big step forward. And in the end, you will realize that the challenges, whether big or small, cannot defeat you unless you give up. Personal responsibility: you decide your life. Life doesn't always go the way you expect. You may plan, prepare perfect strategies, but no one can guarantee that everything will unfold as you wish. There will be times when everything feels out of your control, and you start to feel tired and discouraged. But you need to understand one thing: change in your life begins with you. No one can live your life for you. No one can decide for you. You are the only one who can take responsibility for every choice you make. No matter what you do, no matter what you decide, you must face the consequences. This is an unavoidable truth. You are the one who decides your life, not anyone else. Sometimes we try to blame the circumstances or others when things don't go our way. But the truth is, the challenges you face are not punishments. They are opportunities for you to learn and grow. Every time you fall, every time you fail, it's a chance for you to realize your weaknesses and fix them. If you don't face your difficulties, if you don't recognize your mistakes, how can you move forward? When you realize that you must take responsibility for what happens in your life, you will see a big change. You will no longer blame the world or other people. You will no longer look at your circumstances to justify your failures. Instead, you will begin to see life through a different lens, the lens of someone who is the master of their own life. And then you will realize that only when you take responsibility can you truly change. You may feel like you can't change the current situation. You may feel tired, exhausted, like there's nothing to hold on to. But at that moment, you need to remember one thing: you have the power to choose how you respond to every challenge. You can choose to give up, or you can choose to rise up and keep moving forward. The decision is yours. No one can make it for you. No one can live your life for you. If you feel like you don't have the strength to overcome, think again. You have strength you don't know about. You are stronger than you think. You are the one who can create a turning point in your life. No matter how difficult it gets, you will always find a way to overcome, because you are the one steering your own life. Part of growing up is realizing that you cannot rely on anyone else to change your life. You can't wait for someone to rescue you. You can't hope for luck or help from others. You must stand up, move forward, and fight for yourself. That is the only way you can truly change, the only way to live the life you want. Change doesn't come from others, it comes from you. You may feel weak, sometimes you may feel powerless, but believe that in those moments you will discover the infinite strength within you. Every challenge, every failure, every difficulty will be a stepping stone to make you stronger. And when you look back, you'll realize that it's those failures that helped you grow. This life is yours and you have the power to decide everything. Don't let others or circumstances control your life. Stand strong on your own, make your own decisions, and move forward. Because when you take responsibility for your own life, you'll see that you can go far. You are the only one who can change yourself, and when you change, the whole world will change with you. Don't let fear stop you. Fear is the greatest enemy of anyone on the journey to achieving their dreams and goals. You will face it many times in your life. Fear can come from many sources: fear of failure, fear of not being good enough, fear of being criticized, fear of not being accepted, fear of not meeting expectations. That fear can surround you, making you feel helpless and wanting to give up. But you need to understand, fear only has power when you let it control you. Remember, everyone has their own fears, but the greatest fear is the fear of facing yourself. When you refuse to face your fears, you miss the chance to grow. You will never know what amazing things you can do if you don't overcome your fears. Every step you take forward is a victory over yourself. And only when you overcome fear can you step into a life that is free and unbound. You may ask yourself, do I have enough courage to face this? The answer is yes, you absolutely can. Courage isn't the absence of fear, it's acting even when you're still afraid. You will feel anxious, you will feel insecure, but don't let that stop you. When you keep moving forward despite the fear surrounding you, you will experience something miraculous. That fear will no longer control you. When you don't let fear control you, you will find yourself stronger than ever. Every time you dare to face what you fear, you get closer to maturity and confidence. And you'll realize something important. Fear is just an invisible barrier, something you can overcome by simply taking action. Fear may never completely disappear, but you can learn to live with it. Never let it stop you. Face it and walk through it. When you do, you'll realize that it's those challenges, those fears, that have created the strong person you are becoming. And then you'll look back and proudly say to yourself, I overcame it, I won. Don't let moments of fear stop you. Life will never be easy, and challenges will always be present. But facing those challenges is what will help you build resilience. And when you walk through fear, you'll see that you not only become stronger, but you also understand that fear is not an obstacle, but an opportunity to discover yourself. Remember that every time you face fear, you're opening the door to a stronger version of yourself. And eventually, you won't be afraid anymore, because you will understand that only you can overcome that fear, and when you do, you will feel the power within you. Every failure is a step closer to success. We all want success. Everyone has goals, dreams, and big ambitions. But success never comes easily. It's a long journey, full of hardships and challenges. And on that path, you will encounter failures. No one can avoid that. However, failure is not the end. Failure is a lesson, an important stepping stone to help you get closer to your goal. Many people fear failure, they avoid it, worry about not succeeding, about making wrong decisions. But you need to understand one thing. Failure is not the enemy, it's a companion on the road to success. Every time you fail, you learn something, you realize your weaknesses and have a chance to improve. Failure doesn't make you weaker, on the contrary, it helps you grow, it gives you more experience to do better next time. Never see failure as a real failure, but as an opportunity to change, to try again. The most successful people in life are those who aren't afraid of failure, but those who know how to stand up after each fall. Success doesn't come from those who have never failed, but from those who have failed yet still rise with determination and keep going. When you fail, you will feel pain, you will feel like everything is collapsing, like all your efforts have been destroyed. But don't let those emotions overwhelm you. Allow yourself to feel those emotions, but don't let them last. Stand up, take a deep breath, and remember that you still have another chance to try again, to start over. Every time you stand up, you get closer to your goal. Successful people have one thing in common: they never give up. They never let failure defeat them. Instead, they learn from failure, they use it as a lesson to grow stronger. Every failure is a valuable lesson, every fall is an opportunity to rise up stronger. Don't let failure make you feel inadequate. Remember, failure is only temporary while your strength and determination are permanent. The difficulties you face are only temporary challenges. If you don't give up, if you keep trying, you will see that eventually success will come to you. So, when faced with failure, don't worry. See it as part of the process. Stand up, learn, and keep moving forward. Success never comes from ease, but from you continuing to fight, no matter how many times you fall. Every failure, no matter how painful, is a step closer to your goal. So, be strong, never give up. Let every failure be an opportunity to prove to yourself that you can overcome anything. Keep moving forward because you're on the right track, even if sometimes you have to accept failure. Success is not the destination, but the journey. And only when you don't give up will you reach the ultimate destination. Thanks so much for listening.